What's going on, everybody? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So I'm sure at times you've been bombarded by online ads showing you ways to make money from home in your pajamas, but some of these work a lot better than others, and today we're going to take a look at one method that I found that's generated me $2,000 to $3,000 in profit every single month as a full-time college student. So let's jump right into it. So the way that I've been able to generate this extra income is actually flipping laptops. So I'm sure you may have heard of flipping cell phones or other electronics before, but I like to specifically focus on laptops, and there is a number of reasons for that. If you're not familiar with flipping electronics at all, basically you buy low and you sell high, just like anyone else does, just like a grocery store or a Walmart, but you're going to buy an electronic at a low price and you're going to sell it at a higher price, and you get to keep the difference. So the reason that I specifically focus on flipping laptops is because the risk is a lot lower in my opinion, because with cell phones you have to deal with carriers and IMEI numbers, and laptops don't have any of that, and as a result they're a lot easier to sell. When you're flipping a cell phone, you have to make sure that the person you're selling to can use the carrier that device is locked to. Now you can get unlocked devices, but it just gets really confusing, and even IMEI numbers can be blacklisted, and it's just a whole headache that isn't necessary when you're flipping laptops. Now in most cases you will have to invest a little bit more money when you're talking about laptops because they are usually more expensive than a cell phone, but as a result the profit margin is a lot higher because you're able to negotiate down, so there's more room to negotiate. So say you have like a $500 cell phone, you're not able to negotiate super far on that because it's only worth $500, but if you have a $1,000 plus laptop, there's a lot more room to negotiate, and therefore you can make a lot more money. And the last reason that I specifically focus on laptops is because they're a lot easier to sell. Like we talked about earlier, there's carriers and IMEI numbers when you're talking about cell phones, but with laptops you don't have any of that, so anyone can buy your laptop. They don't have to have AT&T, they don't have to have Verizon, because a laptop doesn't need that. So the first step when you're looking to flip a laptop is buying a laptop. So there's a few different places that I like to buy from when looking for a good flip, and that's eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and Letgo. There's advantages and disadvantages to both of these, but if you're not comfortable meeting someone in person, then I would recommend using Mercari or eBay. But if you're okay and comfortable meeting somebody in person, then you are able to negotiate down a lot more with apps like Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, and Letgo, because typically you're offering cash, and therefore you can negotiate a lot more because people love cash. When someone sells you an item on eBay or Mercari, they have to pay a 10% fee on that, which cuts into how much they're getting to keep. And lastly, when we're buying the device, it's important to know that you're making your money when you buy the device, not when you sell the device. And by that I mean, if you don't buy at a low enough price, then there isn't going to be enough money that you can negotiate up when you're selling the device and make a hefty profit. So when you're shopping around for devices, you want to make sure that you know how much you can actually get for that device in the marketplace. So I would use Swappa or eBay sold listings to see how much each device is actually worth with all the proper specs and everything like that. So let's take a look at a quick example. Let's say you have a 2018 and 13-inch MacBook Pro, and let's say that's worth about $1,000 at the time of filming this video. So if you know that you're able to sell that machine online for $1,000, which we'll take a look at in a little bit, then you want to make sure that you're buying that device for anywhere between $700 and $800. This way you're building a nice profit margin that even after you pay your fees and shipping and everything like that, you're still taking a good $100 to $200 home on every device. And obviously as you get more experience, you'll be able to increase your profit margins, and I average around $200 to $400 per device that I flip. So now that you've purchased the device, you've created that profit margin, now you're ready to sell. So I would recommend selling on Mercari, Swappa, and Facebook Marketplace. Now Mercari and Marketplace we talked about before. Marketplace is like a yard sale style, whereas Mercari is more like eBay that you sell to someone online. Now Swappa I mentioned briefly earlier, but I didn't really talk about it, and Swappa I personally love, and that is my favorite place to sell by far. Swappa isn't super well known, but their fee system is fantastic. They don't actually charge a 10% fee like Mercari or eBay does. They have a flat tier system that I'll put up right here that you can see. They just charge a flat fee depending on how much that item costs, and then obviously PayPal takes the 3% that they take regardless. The great thing about Swappa is every item is listed in order of price, so you're able to price competitively and actually sell your item pretty quickly. And in my experience, if you want your item to sell quickly, then I would recommend listing your item on Mercari, Marketplace, and Swappa. I've never had an item sell simultaneously on two different platforms, so there's really not very much risk there. As soon as it sells on one platform, you can just take it down from the others, but that way you're putting it out everywhere so that it has a maximum reach and has maximum amount of eyes on it. So when you go to make your listing, the most important thing is that you take really, really great photos of the item. You don't need to go out and buy some expensive camera. The camera on your smartphone is probably good enough, but if you're gonna be taking this seriously, then there are a few things that I would recommend getting. The first thing I would recommend getting is a photo box, which I'll put a picture of right here, and I also will put the link in the description of the exact one that I use if you wanna check that out. So go ahead and click that link if you do decide to purchase a photo box. Now, a photo box is what gives photographers that nice, clean, white background when they're taking pictures of an item, and it really gives you a professional look and gives you an edge up on other people who are just taking regular photos on their countertop or anything like that. Make sure you take photos from every single angle and don't bother trying to hide anything. If you try and hide a mark or a scuff and then you end up selling that item, in my experience, someone will return that item or you'll get a bad review and it's just not worth it. So it's better to be honest and show, yes, it has a mark, but it still works fine, and a lot of people are okay with that. It's not that big of a deal. People understand that they're buying a used device and it's gonna have some marks, and most people don't really mind as long as you're honest about it up front. And lastly, you want to create a clean and professional description of your listing so that they can see all the specs and everything that they need to know about that device and when you'll be able to ship it. That brings me to my next point, which is shipping. And obviously, if you're selling on Swappa or Mercari, you are going to have to ship the devices. Now, sometimes you can ship through Marketplace, but I wouldn't recommend it. I've never done it myself, and it's just not really worth it. So I know that shipping can be a little bit confusing, and when you're doing high volume of this, if you really get into laptop flipping, then you're going to want to make sure that you're optimizing your shipping and understand what the best options are. So personally, I use USPS for all of my shipping, and you want to understand the difference between flat rate shipping and priority mail. So flat rate shipping is basically the if it fits, it ships motto, and as long as your item fits inside the box, then you're good to go. So I found that the USPS medium flat rate box fits pretty much every MacBook, and as long as you can fit it inside that box with adequate packaging and the charging cable and everything, then you're good to go, and it only costs like $14 or $15. The other option is the more traditional one, which is priority mail, which is where they put it in a box, they weigh it, and based on the weight and how far it's going, they decide how much they're going to charge you. So personally, I live on the East Coast, so I've found that if I'm shipping to someone on the East Coast, it's better for me to use priority mail because a lot of times it comes in lower than the $14 or $15 that the medium flat rate box costs. However, if I'm shipping far away on the West Coast, it's better to use the flat rate box because otherwise the priority mail would cost a lot more. Now I know that that can sound a little bit confusing, but I promise it's not that bad. If you're shipping far away, use a flat rate box. If you're shipping closer, then you want to use priority mail. And you can always go on the USPS website and do a calculation of how much your shipping is going to cost. And while you're on the USPS website, I would also recommend that you pick up some free boxes. The United States Postal Service will actually send you boxes for free, and they're basically making a bet that you're going to use that item for their service and therefore make their money back. But that means that you're able to get professional looking, clean, brand new boxes for absolutely free. You can get any size, you can get the medium flat rate boxes, you can get priority mail boxes, you can even get the express mail boxes if that's a service that you want to offer. But you can get any of these products on their website for absolutely free, shipped right to your doorstep, and then you're ready to go and you have nice boxes that you're able to put your items in and ship them out to your customers. And lastly, if you're really going to be getting into laptop flipping, I would recommend that you pick up a label printer. I'll put a link in the description to the exact one that I use, so go ahead and click that down below. But basically, this allows you to print labels a lot faster than if you have to print them and cut them out and tape them on. I know that doesn't sound like a huge hassle, but if you're doing a large amount of volume, it does add up over time. So getting a label printer means that you can just peel it off, stick it on the box, and you're good to go. So now that we've taken a look at how to buy an item at a low price, how to make a professional listing, and where to sell your item, let's talk about how much money you can actually reasonably make while flipping laptops. So just like anything else, you're gonna get better at it with experience, but pretty quickly you'll be able to generate about $200 per laptop that you can flip. So let's say that you're able to flip 5 laptops per month. That's $200 per laptop, which means that you're able to generate $1,000 in profit at the end of every single month. Now, you'll obviously have a few bumps in the road with returns and upset customers, but you'll also have a few surprises where you're actually able to make about $400 per item or more. Sometimes people really just want the cash and you're able to get an item at a really low price and therefore you can make a large profit. Just this past summer, I purchased a 2015 MacBook Pro that I found on LetGo. I paid $350 in cash for it, and by that same night, I sold it on Swappa for $850. Now this is an extreme example and this isn't going to happen very often, but sometimes you are able to get very lucky and you do get an item that you're able to make a lot more than $200 on. So the amount of money that you can make from this really depends on how many computers you're able to flip, but I've been able to get up to 15 to 20 computers per month, which generates between $3,000 and $4,000. And if you really want to increase your volume, it's important that you aren't chasing a high price tag. And by that I mean you want to price your items competitively so that they sell quickly so that you're able to get a new laptop in and sell it again. Would you rather make $250 twice or make $200 5 times? Trying to squeeze out that extra $50 in profit is not going to be worth it in the long run, so price your laptops competitively so that they can get out the door quickly, so that you can get a new item as fast as possible. Thank you so much for checking out my video. If you got any value out of it, go ahead and drop a like down below and share it with any friends. And if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos just like this one. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.